10 o'clock, Wednesday, July 24th, 2024. Call this meeting to order. We're here for consideration and decision of ambulance service district contracts with fire districts and appropriation of funds from old ambulance district taxes. How did you put this on the agenda? Do you want to start us off on this discussion?
Yeah. The fire district, both districts came together and updated their ambulance district service agreement. And the board reviewed the contract already. I was in a meeting with Fire District 1 and we went over the contract. They did update some language regarding payment in case, we'll discuss this earlier today. We had a shortage on wages for the last year. And since basically this is a contract, Fire District 1 and Fire District 2 are contracted out by the ambulance district. So really, the wages are supported by the contract, even the additional wages if it becomes, it was for probably overtime. Is that what it was?
No, it was just more normal wages.
Normal wages. Okay. Oh, it was for ambulance calls, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they had more calls than what they thought. So that's what that would be.
Yeah, so going back 3 months, we had the same discussion. Talked with Commissioner Zimmerman. He gave the go-ahead for the Ambulance Service District Advisory Board to sit down with legal, sit down and talk with the District 1, District 2, and come up with the solution. So the main driver, the main change between the pre-existing contract and the one that you have in front of you now is directly associated with rate. We didn't want to go into this particular budget cycle not being able to justify and budget for a like amount each month. So it was all preset from EMS Corporation with the original ambulance service district agreements based on actual costs. And that's very, very difficult to budget sometimes. Whether we have callback out, whether the districts have callback hours or callback personnel. We went through a COVID time frame there for a few years that had extended transports, had a Pocatello. We couldn't factor in these type of things. So we sat down really with the goal of this contract, really dialing in this section on payment. So it's 4 quarterly payments, like amounts for the contract agreement to have ambulance staff for the ambulance service district with the commissioners, and that covers the necessary personnel to make sure those ambulances are staffed. As Commissioner Zimmerman brought up, there was one, Brittany brought up section 5, and it was just a wording thing. Other than that, it was pure, just arrangement, is what Brittany did. And then to your point, District 1, District 2, Fire Commissioner Bates has signed. Ambulance Services Advisory Board is recommending signatures. We can continue on with the budget.
Okay.
Okay, but I haven't seen the contract. Is this the contract?
That's the contract.
Have you seen the contract? Mm-hmm. Okay. Was this, maybe I have seen this, was this emailed?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. It looked familiar as soon as I said that. Okay. Commissioner Zimmerman, what's your recommendation?
I would motion to approve the contract.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Do we have any further discussion?
No.
Any further discussion?
No.
Okay, I have read that, sorry. Yeah, okay, well then we'll take it to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries unanimously. So that, did you have anything further you wanted to add?
We had the taxing,
Appropriation of funds from old ambulance district taxes.
And it wasn't actually district, that was my fault, it should be ambulance fund,
Old ambulance funds.
the old ambulance fund,
Okay, not district.
not district, correct.
Okay. So, I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know. Put it on the
I didn't
agenda.
either.
That was, the old ambulance fund
Mhm.
that had tax money in there. The ambulance district was under the impression that they were supposed to get the funds from that. Peggy had moved it into current expense. The ambulance district thought it was gonna come to them. So that's the question. Is it staying in current expense? Does it belong to the ambulance district? That was where it was.
It was assessed under the county at the time. It belongs to the county according to Idaho code. It was never district money, and any district that dissolves under Idaho code would come into current expense. That was like the East Hospital. There was always some dispute on that. But way back when we had delinquent taxes from old time, that account was never shut down. It just kept accumulating in that fund. And that was from when we went out and charged the taxpayers. That never really belonged to your guys' taxing district. So when I came down and explained that to the commissioners that I was moving that, they gave me the approval to move it into current expense. Does that help?
What,
So
It
ultimately,
was 24,000.
I was under the impression that it was Isha shown, and before that happened, that was directed towards, and again, this is where
Yeah,
the impression is,
communication.
that it was directed to the Isha shown Ambulance Service District before that, so.
You had two issues going on. One was the East Shoshone Hospital District, and then we had, the county had its own fund, which we paid out to, I don't know if you remember, Larson from Kellogg. And we accumulated that fund on his behalf when we had a contract with him, and we paid him out of that fund through our tax rolls. So when all these old taxes kept coming into that Fund 4, that's when I came back, I said, can I move this into current expense and close that fund? So any of these old taxes come back into current expense where it really belongs. But it was never a district. The East Shoshone Hospital District funds, when they closed that, it was under a bankruptcy at the time, and we kept separate books at that time for East Shoshone. And then when the bankruptcy was all paid for, then on Idaho code it said to bring it into current expense. But we kept it separate so that we knew how much money was sitting there from East Shoshone, and that it could have been used, and it was used to my knowledge, for ambulances and that type of stuff. And then it was, paid out through that.
Yeah, we paid out, that was the question, the East Shoshone Hospital District, we paid that to you guys. So this is.
This is a fund which was from years ago when we had a contract with Larson. Those were the funds that was sitting there that I closed out.
Yeah, I think we were under the impression it was part of the relationship.
And again, there was documentation, that there was that line item of a certain document, and the commissioners at whatever point, and I'm paraphrasing on my understanding of this because I never saw some of that, that was actually by board, directed over to the ambulance service district. So.
From this previous board or previous board?
Again, I don't have time frames.
Okay.
So I'll have to look and see.
This has been discussed for about 6 months on different.
Yeah, see, I didn't know about the Larson's one. I knew about the East Shoshone Hospital District that we went ahead and approved and said, yeah, go ahead and take that, but I didn't know about this other.
Well, this ambulance 4 fund,
Our old, yeah.
it was from years past, from years. And it kept, when we get old taxes and stuff, it just kept accumulating into that fund. Does that help?
And I think we're talking about the same fund. We just had direction from the commissioners that was going to be put into the ambulance service district before the change this last time. So we wanted to bring it up.
Don't know if you don't ask.
Yep.
Which commission director?
Again, I would have to go back to the notes. This has been 6 months at least. I don't know if it's even longer. So we'd have to bring back to the table some of that discussion. So we'll go back and get the documentation. There was something floating around within our ambulance service district advisory board meetings, again, some length of time ago. And we just never got it to this point in having the Wednesday discussion.
Okay, some of the other members of the board are more hip to
Yeah.
the conversation that's happening.
Okay.
But what they might assumed could be wrong too.
Yeah, correct.
Very true.
And there might be, like you state, title code absolutely forbidding that discussion, whatever that might be. So,
Well, like I said, it talks about when you close down districts. But the fund itself was never a district. It belonged to county when we went out and assessed our taxpayers. And I can prove about both the figures in that anytime, so, if that helps.
Yeah, so you couldn't just give it wherever you wanted to.
I mean,
Someone may have been confused on where the money
came
sat.
from, yeah, exactly.
and again, the basics of where it came from, where it was sitting and whatnot. We're just going off that it was approved at one of these meetings, that it was going to go to the ambulance service district. So your decision process on that, whatever that has to, we'll have to go back and get the
We'll go look
document.
through our minutes and see if there's any.
Yeah.
But still, I don't know if you could.
Well, exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
The only one I recall doing is the East Shoshone.
Yeah,
That's the only
which
one.
is different from the fund.
and I bet that's what they're
I wasn't
referring
even
to,
aware
I
of
think.
this fund, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't either.
Okay, so we need a little more information there, and we'll dig into that.
Perfect.
Okay? Public comments.
All I have is I go to a lot of these meetings and I don't ever remember it being to be switched over to the ambulance. That's my memory.
Anything? Chief, anything you'd like to add today? Good to see you. Okay. Anything further?
Yes, just one discussion on the ambulance service district as far as what is on the ambulances based on Facebook references as far as the transports into Kootenai County right now happen to move into an encrypted radio channel outside of the 700 series radios. And so just an FYI, it's within the budget side of things. But just to bring it to your attention, there has to be 3 new portables purchased for the ambulances.
That's on your 1030 from
Yeah.
your.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, okay.
10:30, my bad.
Just-
Jumped the gun.
Just FYI,
So
that's where
just
that's
some
at.
background, 'cause I apologize, I have to go, maybe these guys can stay around, but just the reasoning behind it, they had to go encrypted because there was release of deaths to the general public on Northside Road News and some other outfits before. So unfortunately, this impacts us. Them monetarily, the ambulance, you guys, the ambulance services monetarily, be able to encrypt these radios.
Makes sense.
Anything you'd like to add? Okay. All right, anybody else at the table? Peggy, anything else? Tim? Okay, then with that, we are adjourned until the 10:30.